Hello, thank you for being here with me today. My name is Johnny Hill, and I have the privilege of serving as the Chief Financial Officer here at Allen ISD. Today, I want to discuss a very important topic with you. I want to talk about an upcoming election that we have on May the 1st, and it's concerning the attendance credit election. This is very important because Allen ISD is at risk of losing approximately $3.03 billion of its tax base. But you have the power to prevent this loss in this upcoming important election. 5 key considerations. Number 1, what is the attendance credit election? Number 2, what happens if the measure fails? Number 3, what happens if the measure passes? Number 4, when and where can Allen ISD residents vote? And number 5, where can voters get more information? Number 1, what is the attendance credit election? The attendance credit election is a state-required one-time election. What this means is that once we hold this election in May, we do not have to come back out to the voters and ask annually or periodically for the approval again. It seeks voter approval for the district to pay recapture by purchasing attendance credit from the state using local tax revenue. An attendance credit is simply the name given for the way a district equalizes its wealth through recapture payments back to the state. I do want to point out one important factor here, and that is this election is not asking whether you agree or disagree with paying recapture. This is simply asking you how that we'll go about equalizing our wealth. Under the previous law, recapture could be netted against state funding. So districts that actually paid recapture on an amount smaller than its state funding was able to net the two together, thus avoiding having to write a check back to the state. Under the current law, recapture can no longer be netted. Local tax revenue must be used to pay recapture. So excess local revenue, also known as recapture or Robin Hood. The state recaptures excess local revenues from property wealthy districts and equalizes it and spreads it out to other property poor districts. An important question that always comes up is, can Allen ISD avoid paying recapture? And the answer to that is yes, we can. Allen ISD pays approximately $1.2 million in recapture annually. But when we pay $1.2 million in recapture, we also generate a little over $4.9 million in funding. This happens because we are levying these 3.89 pennies at an enrichment level. So for us to lower our tax rates by these enriched 3.89 cents, we would give up approximately $4.9 million in funding. This is relevant to our school district because approximately 83% of our budget is in personnel costs. For Allen ISD, to cut $4.9 million out of our budget would impact teachers and our support staff. Therefore, it is not feasible for Allen ISD to stop paying recapture at this time. Allen ISD was designated by the state as property wealthy back in 2011. And since that time, Allen ISD has made all the necessary payments, the recapture payments, using a method called purchasing attendance credits. Allen ISD prefers this method of recapture because it is the most cost-effective way to equalize our wealth. An important note here is there are approximately 200 school districts across the state that are considered property wealthy by the state of Texas. 100% of those districts equalize those wealth by purchasing attendance credits. Number 2, what happens if the measure fails on May the 1st? If the attendance credit measure fails, then Allen ISD will be subject to $3.03 billion of a loss through a measure the state calls Detachment of Territory. This simply means that the state will come in through the Texas Education Agency and detach approximately 19.5% of our commercial property. They will annex it to a surrounding school district that's considered property poor. Our district will go from approximately $15.6 billion in value to $12.5 billion in value. There's a serious impact to our residential homeowners as a result of this detachment of commercial property. That is because Allen ISD has to pay our debt payments on a semi-annual basis. By cutting out part of our commercial property, our residential homeowners will have to make up this difference. So if you take 20% of our 41 cents in our interest and sinking or our debt tax levy, this is approximately 9 cents added to the residential tax rate. For an average homeowner in Allen ISD, this would equate to a little under $340 per year. Another way to look at this commercial property that would be detached is if you just look at our top 10 taxpayers, commercial taxpayers in Allen ISD, you can look at the list here, and the top 10 does not even make up $1 billion. What the state would do is they would go after this list and go from the wealthiest commercial property all the way down to the least wealthiest commercial property, and they would just keep detaching until they received the $3.03 billion of value. An important consideration is that this loss in revenue would be permanent. Once you detach this property, you can never get it back. Additionally, the school district would lose local control over this tax base. Number 3, what happens if the measure passes on May the 1st? If the measure passes on May the 1st, Allen ISD will continue to make our required recapture payments in the same method we have since 2011. You can see the amounts over the last 10 years on this chart, all the way down to the $1.2 million at the bottom. An important note to make here is that the total tax rate will not change if the measure passes on May the 1st. We will continue to equalize our wealth using the purchasing of attendance credits, which once again is the most cost-effective measure to equalize our wealth. Additionally, Allen ISD will continue to provide the quality education that you have come to expect from our school district. Number 4, when and where can Allen ISD residents vote? Allen ISD will have 2 polling locations within the school district for this upcoming election. The first location is the City of Allen Municipal Court, located on Century Parkway here in Allen, Texas. The second location is the Allen Independent School District Service Center, located on Waters Road. Early voting begins Monday, April the 19th, and will run through April the 27th. And Election Day will be held Saturday, May the 1st. The ballot language will state, authorizing the Board of Trustees of Allen Independent School District to purchase attendance credits from the state using local tax revenue. And just as a reminder, a vote for the measure will authorize the school board to purchase attendance credits in the same way it's done since 2011. A vote against will deny this authorization for the board to purchase attendance credits and will cause the state to start detaching property and annexing that property to another surrounding school district. Number 5, where can voters get more information? Mr. David Hicks and his team in our information department here at Allen ISD has created a wonderful website located at www.allenisd.org/2021 attendance. Additionally, all questions can be emailed at publicinfo@allenisd.org. Once again, I appreciate your time and your attention to this very, very important election that we have coming up on May the 1st. Have a good day.